There may be countless versions of you that did not make it to this moment, versions who took a different road, arrived 1 second earlier, or were simply less lucky. Yet somehow, you are standing on the path that continued. So why are you the one still here? Bobby finds one ordinary door in front of him. But hidden inside the wall are more doors than he could ever count. Behind each one is a different future, and one deeply strange idea says Bobby may only notice the doors he survives. The idea begins with quantum physics. At very small scales, nature does not behave like a clockwork toy. A particle can be described by several possible outcomes until an interaction forces those possibilities to become part of the world we observe. Imagine a simple disk that might land on either side. In everyday life, one result happens and the other does not. But quantum theory contains a puzzle. What exactly happens to all the outcomes that were possible a moment earlier? One answer is called the many worlds interpretation. It says, the wave function never collapses and erases the other results. Instead, every allowed result remains inside the full quantum state, on branches that stop affecting one another. That does not mean a new cartoon universe appears whenever Bobby chooses breakfast. Branching comes from quantum interactions happening everywhere, constantly. The familiar world emerges as those branches lose the ability to interfere with each other. Once two branches separate, Bobby cannot call the other Bobby. He cannot open a glowing doorway and borrow information from him. Each version continues with its own records, memories, and future, unaware of the other branch. From the outside picture, every branch may still be part of the mathematics, but each Bobby experiences only one path. He never feels himself splitting. He simply remembers one result, then the next, as if only one world ever existed. Now imagine Bobby has an ordinary near miss. In one branch, he steps back in time. In another, events go differently. The surviving Bobby opens his eyes, feels lucky, and continues. He has no memory from any branch that did not continue for him. That sounds obvious. An observer can only report an event from a situation in which the observer remains able to report it. Silence sends no message. The strange part appears when this simple fact is repeated across an enormous number of branches. Suppose Bobby keeps reaching moments with many possible outcomes. Most paths become dark, while at least one narrow path continues. No matter how unlikely that path becomes, there may still be a Bobby standing on it, wondering how he survived again. This frightening idea is called quantum immortality. It grew from a thought experiment often called quantum suicide. The name is important historically, but the experiment is not something to perform. It is a puzzle about observers, not a survival method. Quantum immortality does not say Bobby has magic armor. His body is still physical. Other people would not watch him become invincible. They would see normal outcomes, including worlds in which Bobby is no longer there to tell them what happened. And surviving Bobby does not jump out of a dark branch and land inside a safe one. Many worlds provides no known tunnel for consciousness. The surviving version was already on that branch, carrying his own body and his own continuous memories. Before branching, the two Bobbies share the same past. After branching, they become different people with different experiences. Calling both of them Bobby is easy. Deciding which future Bobby should count as you is where the idea starts to crack. If two perfect copies remember being you, which one owns your next moment? At the instant of branching, both copies can honestly say, I was the original. 1 second later, their memories begin to separate. Neither copy feels fake. Neither carries a secret stamp proving that consciousness chose him over the other. Quantum immortality quietly adds an extra claim, that your first-person experience must continue wherever some surviving copy exists. But physics does not show a glowing thread moving awareness between worlds. That thread is an assumption added to the picture. Think about an ordinary copy machine that somehow makes two perfect Bobbies. Both wake with the same childhood, same fears, and same orange scarf. The existence of one copy does not make the other copy safe. Their shared history does not combine their futures. This is why quantum immortality is a thought experiment, not a confirmed prediction. It takes a serious interpretation of quantum mechanics, adds a difficult idea about personal identity, and then asks what an observer would expect to experience. Physicist Max Tegmark helped make the thought experiment famous. But even the ideal version required extreme conditions that ordinary life does not provide. Real events are messy, gradual, connected to the environment, and impossible to isolate into one perfect quantum coin toss. An outside observer would still see the usual odds. If an outcome is extremely rare, almost every version of that observer sees it fail. Only the tiny surviving branch contains a Bobby who can look backward and call the result a miracle. In many worlds, branches do not all carry equal weight. Repeating an unlikely result does not make survival certain. It makes the surviving part of the quantum state thinner and thinner compared with the huge collection of other outcomes. That creates a dangerous word game. Some version exists is not the same sentence as I should expect to be that version. Somewhere in a giant set of outcomes, a rare Bobby may continue. That alone does not promise this Bobby anything. Researchers disagree about how probability, identity, and observation should work in many worlds. Some accept the interpretation, but reject quantum immortality. Others reject many worlds itself. There is no scientific agreement that you must experience endless survival. One published criticism makes the point directly: many worlds cannot by itself imply quantum immortality. To reach that conclusion, you need extra rules about which future observers count as you, and those rules are exactly what the thought experiment is trying to prove. Then there is a problem no clean branching diagram likes to show. Dying is often not one sharp on or off event. Bodies age, awareness changes, illness and injury can happen by degrees. What counts as a surviving observer becomes blurry. Even if some form of awareness always continued, it would not guarantee youth, health, comfort, or clear memory. The branch that keeps an observer alive might preserve only a weaker and more limited version of the life that observer wanted. Now the comforting idea becomes a trap. Bobby does not walk through an endless hall of lucky escapes. The hall narrows. Easy futures disappear. Each remaining door may lead to a stranger condition than the one before it. Immortality without control would not feel like winning. It could mean continuing while the world changes beyond recognition, while choices shrink, or while the meaning of Bobby becomes thinner than the orange thread he keeps following. There is another, simpler reason Bobby always finds himself alive. Only a living observer can ask why they are alive. A room with no observer contains no puzzled voice. This is an example of selection in what can be observed. Imagine interviewing only the people who won an impossible contest. Every person you meet says, "I won." That does not prove everyone wins. It proves the people who lost are missing from your interview. Survival can create the same illusion. So quantum immortality cannot be tested safely by a person placing themselves in danger. A failed test produces no useful report for that person, and a lucky result proves nothing about many worlds. There is no responsible experiment for a viewer to try. The thought experiment is valuable because it exposes a hole in our language. Physics can describe possible future states. It cannot automatically tell us which future mind deserves your name, your fear, your responsibility, or your hope. For now, Bobby can access one world, this one. Other branches, if they exist, cannot send help, memories, or second chances. The life in front of him is not made disposable by copies he will never meet. That may be the most important answer. Another Bobby does not replace this Bobby any more than another person replaces you. A copy with your memories would still wake inside a separate moment and inherit consequences you do not get to escape. Limits are frightening, but they also give choices weight. A conversation matters because it ends. A safe decision matters because outcomes matter. If every moment felt guaranteed, the orange thread would no longer point anywhere worth choosing. Would quantum immortality comfort you? Or is endless survival more frightening than an ordinary ending? Bobby looks back at the paths that vanished, then down at the one beneath his feet. He is not proof that death is impossible. He is proof that, so far, this is the branch in which he can still ask the question. And maybe that is enough. Not a promise of forever. Just one unfinished moment, one orange thread, and one world Bobby can still touch. If another strange idea is waiting behind the next door, we will follow it together.